Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Party Makes Things Worse Song of the Reliquary. It's been, it hasn't been a little while, but it has been a little while since everybody was the normal characters, because if you caught our last stream, you know that Michael, Spencer, Stefan, and Nicole were playing Survivors in our last game. That's a fun system from Von Richten's Guide to Ravenloft that lets you have things that are supposed to be a little bit more tense and lethal for these kinds of games that you can queue up future horror, but it doesn't always work that way. I'll cover that when we get to the recap in just a hot minute. All that being what it is, we're going to start, of course, with character facts. You thought I'd forget. You fools! It's character fact time. Who, if anybody, feels sort of equipped to dole out some character facts?
All right, I'll start with Hilfer again, leaning into his kind of like alien nature. He used to think that like coming here and eating like foods from Prospect, that you were supposed to eat the ingredients individually, and that like they would all come together as you like internalized, digested, and like felt the energy returning to you. So he did that at first, and people were kind of looking at him funny, and then he's like, "Oh, you're supposed to mix them beforehand," and so he started mixing them all together into basically like this sort of like mortar and pestle kind of made smoothie sort of thing. So he kind of like, for his rations and stuff, they're kind of like this nutritional paste that he's
the thought
kind of never really likes, but tries to eat anyway to keep his energy up.
The thought that Hilver would be like super into Soylent, would be like really into Soylent meal replacement shakes. He'd be like, it's so much faster. Kind of tracks. I'm kind of with it in a way here. All right, who's next?
I'll go.
All right, Michael.
So the game that we created, I can't remember the name of it. I'm gonna call it Jackshot.
Yeah, sure.
If listeners are confused, go back 8 episodes. But part of that game, as the reason Lemon always took second instead of first, there's a part where you had to do a long range and short range portion, and Lemon is amazing at mid range, as most guns are. His short game and long game, not as good. Something in this this dungeon, has made it click for him. He's had to shoot shit right in his face so much now that he's good, and that explains why he has a new feat.
You take sharpshooter?
I did.
Lemon is... Congratulations, everybody. We can wrap up the campaign here. Lemon is now the most dangerous creature in Prospect.
Yeah.
Everything okay over there?
We just had like some crazy lightning.
Oh, nice.
Very fun.
It's like the window behind me has been like flashing on occasion too.
The one session that's not really going to be that much horror, and it's a dark and stormy night. I'm pissed. We're doing the Survivors again. We're starting over. We're rolling the tape back. We're doing the whole thing over. All right, who's up next?
I'll go. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Can you hear the thunder? That's
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
No.
I don't think so. It'd be fun if we could.
Okay,
There's no way.
Pretend it's there. Anyways, yeah, this isn't really a dark or stormy character fact. So when Beach was younger, he used to actually wear glasses. Like, his eyesight is actually terrible. It's really bad. And obviously people didn't really, made fun of him a little bit for his glasses, and he wanted to be hot and also sexy. So he actually traveled far and wide for a very powerful wizard to fix his eyesight, because he was sick of wearing glasses. So now he doesn't have to wear glasses because he made it possible for him to not wear glasses. He went out and sought out someone specifically that does that.
I need you to know,
on the
there
black
is
market.
one of the funniest things that can happen to you when you're DMing a game for your friends in a world that is written down is one of them goes, "Hey, really quick, Arcane LASIK's real. deal with that. And you go,
Listen.
of course.
Come on, it has to exist. Like,
But
somebody.
you didn't even say he goes to a cleric and gets greater restoration to get his eyes
No,
fixed. You said, no.
he gets LASIK.
A wizard went, hold so still. However still you think you need to be. Double it. All right. Just like full wand. Like, it's just...
Yeah, it felt really bad, and he was
Lightning
blind.
eyes.
He was blind for a while, but it worked.
That's good stuff. I like it. All right, cool. Harold.
My first character fact is about me, Spencer, and it's that I got signed out of D&D Beyond, and I'm having a real hard time signing back in.
Not like
But I think I figured it out, so give me like 1 second and I'll be back in. My character fact for Harold, though, is he has a deep and abiding fear of thunderstorms.
That's hysterical.
From growing up, sort of poor on the streets, knowing what would come with some rain and thunder and lightning, it was not very comfortable for him. So he looks back at those memories sort of not very fondly at all, and that has echoed into his modern day life and is not happy anytime there's a storm. So he's actually quite content being so far underground where you can't hear storms.
I like the thought that Harold, like, out on the desert plains where I'm imagining you in this, like, arid kind of wasteland in that mullock that you grew up in. The fact where it's like, rain for us strictly means flash flooding. There's nothing fun about rain here, is, I think, actually pretty powerful. And it is funny because Bastion is, I think, canonically above the cloud line. And so Harold only needs to hear them. Like, he doesn't really need to interact with it too much in a way. You know, I don't know. Does lightning actually stop at clouds? Probably not, right?
It does. It can bounce from cloud to cloud, but it cannot be above clouds.
See, I thought I was about to for sure learn that that's just the way that kids draw lightning bolts is coming out of clouds, and that they weren't related. Okay, that's very comforting. I'll double.
No,
I mean, who knows?
it comes from the ground, right?
Yeah, I think they like
The
it's like
difference
the
between the
differential.
ionization.
It meets right in the middle.
It's like how, fun fact, if birds, that's why it's safe for birds to land on the power line, because there's no difference between the charge on their two legs. If they put 1 foot on one wire and another foot on another, it would electrocute them because there would be a difference, and it would meet the difference in them, and they would, but instead they stand on the same lane, and it doesn't happen. That's just a little fun fact for you. All right, cool. So with that, we have our character facts out of the way. So last time on The Party Makes Things Worse, we joined the luckiest group of survivors in the history of Prospect and maybe Dungeons and Dragons at large? I'm not sure. We met Kernal, Micah, Sirat, and Vainol. They delved into the Forge, which was a hybrid of a smithy and a temple to the Vemeral, with enough arms and armor to equip an army. After a close encounter with another of the Bastilles, you had met one before, obviously not those, but we all have met one before, one of their number, Sirat, found and picked up a hammer called the Piper's Wrath, the hammer of Tagor Brightfall, one of the Vemeral. In an incredible display of fortune, they managed to seize control of the hammer without losing their sense of self, and grew to an immensely muscular size. They now have a strength of 26. The party made good their escape while further interacting with the ferocious devotion that the creatures of this place have to the Vemeral. Only the Bastille seemed to pause and take a moment looking at Sirat to see if it was actually Sirat or Tagor. So you know that there is some hierarchy there, and you need to be careful. That's not just kind of all open and clear. Today, however, we return to the side of the bottom line as word spreads that the Viscount Faraday Malaran, whose name I did remember, has been slain, and that access to the deepest areas of the Reliquary is finally free and clear. And everybody has also leveled up to level 8, which I know we've been taking care of off cameras. We've got a little bit in the intro. Lemon is now a sharpshooter, and Hilbert told me before he's going full Baki. He is a grappler now and is going to be just destroying all of my CR numbers for the rest of the campaign. Harold and Beej, I'm curious, did either of you go feat? Did you just go ability score increase? Did we land anywhere fun?
I didn't do anything because, again, I can't sign in, it will be an ability score improvement. I know that much.
You just chasing that 20 charisma.
Yeah, exactly.
Nicole, what about Beach?
I don't think anything special happens for me, to be honest. But I could be wrong. Like, I'm not... As much as I play D&D, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, so
I don't think there's anything special. I did get a new spell, but other than that.
So the big thing for this level is I think just about everybody's getting an ability score improvement or feat. So you can basically... Is your charisma already a 20? I don't remember.
It is... 16?
So you're definitely going to take the ASI and bring your charisma up by 2 to an 18. I was going to say if your charisma was already super high, I would tell you to go probably spell sniper or something to get a little bit more range. With a 16, we need to get that 18 before we move too much further on down the road. There is probably your best bet. Listen, if you want to just be like, hey, can I completely respec and take like Tavern Brawler? I mean, you can do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But that's the sort of the gentle nudge that I would offer. So you are all currently embroiled in what started as a brief moment of cheer that has turned into quite a celebration. The mages of Remgastelon having cleared away the last of the agents of Edifice, and you all having dealt with the Viscount and his cohort, we have a strange moment where a tension on this place has been lifted. People have not been able to move kind of up and down the atrium past the Viscount, and the agents of Edifice have been opening fire on anybody who tries. So things have been very tense inside the Reliquary. But with the Viscount dead and his forces dashed, things have significantly loosened up here. Other people are starting to make their way up and down. I'm going to ask, how does the party respond to this? So the mages of Remgastelon seem like, with the passive insights I know we're working with, seem like they are happy to let other people past them down below deeper into the Reliquary. They already got into the building they want to get into. They might be done here, basically. You really don't know. I'm just curious, before I start narrating everybody having a good time, is anybody in the party, like, standing at the top of the staircase with loaded weapons, like, trying to give people the stink eye? Or are we leaning into what kind of Hilver was hinting about a couple of episodes ago, which is, hey, worst case, somebody else gets killed by the big scythe trap, and then I get to just step over them and find whatever thing they didn't find.
Lemon sits at the door, security guard, $5 surcharge.
To get into the orchard. That's extremely funny. So Lemon posts up during this party, and as people go inside to like investigate what is inside, Lemon keeps getting handed like 5 gold by different. You hear people being like, "That's actually that's kind of fair." Yeah, it is pretty fair. Go ahead and roll me just a luck check. Roll me a d20.
Sure.
I almost just put a mint in my mouth. Rookie move.
Shoes on the other foot.
I know. I remember the ice.
That is a 19.
With a 19, you all, like, whatever else happens as you're all, like, talking and chatting and having a good time, Lemon, at the end of today, you have, like, 150 gold in a huge bag. You thought this would be, like, a funny way to get a little bit of extra money, and you proceed to make a killing on people who mostly walk into the first room and immediately run out to vomit when they see the room full of dead body parts. Like, that is most of your business, is people being like, we can look at whatever we... Oh my god. And then just having to, like, run to the edge to vomit into the bottom of the atrium. You see skeletons with buckets and mops to clean, just full sprinting to pick up the mess as everything else kind of continues. Okay, so is anybody here gonna, like, push for territorial dominance at all, or are we kind of rolling with letting people past?
I think if anyone's able to join back at the prison area, it did seem like the very end of it still might have kind of hazards to it. So should we go check that out before anyone else walks into their death that way?
Adventures.
How's everybody look health wise? How are we all feeling? We got through a pretty big fight.
Good here.
I'm good.
All good.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you all are like having this conversation, starting to talk this out, the energy around you is kind of continuing to whip up. You get the sense that at least among the mages of Remgastelon, this has been a huge problem for them. So as you are continuing, you discover that some of the like casks and barrels that were here for the agents of Edifice aren't full of gear. Some of them are like ale and other things, and you do see that like a couple of the mages have started to tap a couple of the casks and are starting to like drink in small groups and chat with people. You actually see some of the explorers from up above kind of like tentatively approaching around the edges, like not sure what the power shift is, only to be kind of grabbed in by mages of Remgastelon who are like pulling them in to talk and ask what they have seen. You get the sense that the like scholarly culture of the mages wants to be talking to people about what they've seen and kind of sharing their own information a little bit. And other groups are kind of gauging whether or not they want to interact with that. It's like some people, a lot of the people going directly to Lemon are kind of like eking up against the walls and making their way around, paying some gold and going to like explore, while other people are kind of here to engage in the kind of increasing revelry. Lemon, what's up?
I do want to talk to Harold semi-covertly.
Yeah, I mean, you can duck into a building or take advantage of the fact that you are surrounded by loud noise and hope that it would be covert to be in public in this moment. It's really kind of up to you.
Yeah, building would be best for this.
Okay.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, the pictures that we got in the bag, we should probably give them to our friend, our research buddy, like quick.
Sure, yeah.
I'm cool with everyone having info, but we should probably have first dibs on some of that info.
You gotta hope, right?
And I don't want to ask any of these eggheads about it, so we'll ask our egghead.
Yeah, it's always for the best. Yeah, we can find them. We can go back to the Hall of Glassware. What's
The
like
temple
mosaic
down below,
glass?
yeah. I will say,
temple, yeah.
the guy you're talking about, Corvain Vemelide, is partying with the mages of Remgastelon. You look over and you see the Dragonborn, the large kind of Dragonborn form of Corvain is sort of... How silly do we want to get here? I'm going to roll... I didn't get any dice out. Who needs them, right, guys? I'm going to just roll to see what the partyometer on Corvain is. Corvain is having a polite chat with a couple of other people, and who are mainly, like, comparing notes and, like, sipping drinks while they talk, just kind of relieved to be able to talk out in the open. You see there's, like, a bunch of different members of the college. Some are Dragonborn, some are human, some are like various other groups standing in a circle, and they all have like notebooks and diagrams, and there's like a scroll out on the table, and they're like comparing things that they've seen and things that they've noticed and like making corrections in the margins of their own notebooks and each other's as they are like kind of continuing to try to crack whatever the mages are trying to solve here. Is very much a group project. But you would know, you discovered when Nick, who unfortunately could not play today, Nick's character went through Corvain's journal. Corvain knows that Orax Solden, who is in charge of the mages, who you spoke to very briefly, Orax seems to have some kind of other thing going on. And that is sort of cagey, a little bit in the background right now. Orax has not been forthcoming with anybody about whatever that is.
I think we should probably tell him, soon we can give him the artwork.
Yeah, should we bring him along to the back of the prison chamber? It might be a little quieter there, then we can chat with him.
Sure. Check it out real quick anyways.
Yeah.
While everybody else is partying. That works.
Sure. As all of this is kind of whipping up, you see the majority of the mages making their way down. You do see that eventually Orax comes over and things kind of cool a little bit in like a bubble around Orax, wherever they are. Orax, remember, is one of the only other... There's only like, among the like 50 or so mages that are present, there's maybe 10 actual Dragonborn, which you would know is a big deal. That means your lineage or you were gifted that by a dragon. and the Federation, which is where they come from, is ruled by dragons, and so that is kind of a big deal. Orax is accompanied. You had heard this person described before. Orax is accompanied by another construct. We've had quite a few of those. This one is by far the most kind of magical looking. It looks far less mechanical. The forearms and like they are built in a humanoid way, but there are no joints. Those items are just kind of like floating in the next logical position. So instead of having an elbow, it is just forearm and then bicep with no elbow there. Seemingly made of metal for the most part, with like these deep carvings. Some elements seem like they're made of stone, and their eyes are these big gemstones that are like embedded in their face, and they are kind of looking around besides Orax kind of at all times. And you know that whatever this thing is, it is called a Cantonac, but we rolled and no one had any idea what one was. So all you know is that's what they're called. But so that's kind of what's happening around you. So what are people's goals here? We can convene as a group and get some stuff done around. Or so what's the vibe?
I think that's probably going to be the best bet, is just to go to the back while everybody else is busy. If anybody has anything else to do, though, it can just be Harold and Hilver. If Beej and Lemon want to stay behind, we go to the back real quick with Corvair.
Sure.
Great.
Not
And I
necessarily.
guess,
I'm good.
Okay.
yeah. Should we grab a couple of those extra bags of holding too? That
Yeah,
kind
there's
of
like they're all
recently
sitting on a
dismissed.
cart. There's like 12 bags of holding that are all like
Yeah.
clearly mass produced in edifice somewhere. They are all identical, very plain canvas bags that just all have the enchantment in series on them. So you could look through. You also have whatever gear and equipment is to be found on the Viscount, the cleric, and the and well, I suppose, and Veda should be found at some point. You see that Fitz is already tinkering with Veda. And we'll say that's what Bartholomew is doing. You see Bartholomew is kind of is giving Fitz the help action, and because Bartholomew, if memory serves, is the one that took the time to knock out Veda instead of kill them. And they are kind of examining the internals. You see that they have like a couple of metal panels off and are taking out these like glowing crystals. And you see that every now and again Fitzpatrick is like putting on these like very magnified lenses and is like etching things into the crystal and like seemingly trying to modify whatever Veda's like basic arcane programming is.
Harold is going to take a back seat for about 1 minute here while I add a new method of verification for D&D Beyond.
No,
Yeah,
wow, you're
in a
really
minute.
just
I have signed in
you're
on
really
every
lost.
possible account. Not one of them has worked. I think it's because we changed our Twitch name, and then it signed me out when there's a refresh in my system.
Oh.
And it's like, you don't have an account under that name, so I have to go do that on Nicole's.
I believe.
All right.
Crushing. All right, so what
I
are
will-
the rest of us up to in this time?
I'll wave Corvain over to get him to come help us.
Yeah, Corvain quickly sort of makes his way over to you. You are obviously supposed to be the people of honor, but everybody is giving you a little bit of space. You can tell you all not quite committing to whatever's going on here. Has everybody like, are we good? Like, is everything going to be okay? Corvain runs over and goes, hello! Hey, fantastic job, everybody. I can't believe how smoothly everything went. You're looking around at, like, blasted walls, a couple of losses on both sides, and you're like, yeah. And Corvain's like, I couldn't have imagined it going any better. Did you need to speak to me about something, or did you want to come and get a drink with me and my companions?
Well, since the mages are going to be, I guess, in this area now, too, I was gonna like have you kind of like walk the kind of footsteps that we did when we went in here, and I'll kind of jot down a kind of general schematic of the area that we've traversed, so you guys can kind of get a head start on researching through this place if you wanted to join us for that.
Oh, certainly, that'd be fantastic. You see he like runs back over and grabs his notebook and comes back with this like thick leather-bound notebook that he has been carrying with him always, and flips it open to a page about like halfway through, so you can see that this is like, you remember you saw him a day ago and he was only about a third of the way through this notebook, So he is like rapidly filling pages with notes as he kind of continues. But he flips to a fresh page and goes, "Yes, absolutely. I'd be happy to speak to you about this," and like pulls it out.
All right. Great. So we're going to head to the place where we found the prisoners first. I think there were a couple of others that might need to be identified that unfortunately did not make it.
All right, certainly.
If you want to follow us that way and
Yes, of
down
course.
past this. Oh, lemon.
Lemon.
Oh,
Sorry.
as they head out, I'm taking Corvain's spot in his little group. And
Oh, so
telling-
you just like filter in among the mages very quickly.
Yeah, I tell tale of what happened.
Yeah, go ahead and make a persuasion check for me. I'll give you advantage because you are kind of the
Thank you.
you are very much the hero of the hour here. So they are more apt to be kind of glued to your every word.
Ooh, that's way better.
Nice.
All right, that is a 14.
14, respectable. With a 14, you make a pretty good impression. You kind of like share the story. They're all very interested. A couple of them do jot down notes. Some of the things that you noticed are apparently of pretty significant notice to them. Do you leave anything out?
I mean the artwork we leave out, and tales of yeah, the bow we don't mention.
Okay. So you leave out the bow and the paintings.
Yeah, bow and paintings. I try and make emphasis on like the recovery room. Or the surgery room.
Oh yeah, so you like really drill in on those walls with like the growing things in it, in the surgical theater with sort of all of this stuff going on, and you just sort of conveniently leave out the bow. Yeah. With that, I'll say they don't pose you too many additional questions. They don't detect any of the holes in your story and are kind of glad to take down notes. You see, as they are talking, you do get the sense that they have found that like growth up the wall that you saw. They have found similar growths, nothing on that scale. So clearly there is something somewhat unique going on inside of this place that's a little different, but they have seen it in a few other spots, and there's been some debate about what exactly it is. It doesn't respond well to the spell Identify for reasons that they have yet to quite figure out. Okay, are we back, Harold?
I am back.
Okay. Corvain has been sort of scooped with you guys. So Corvain, Hilver, and Harold, it sounds like, and Beej, you can be with them or with Lemon or elsewise if you would like. I take it you guys are kind of stepping into... I'm just going to have to keep using its name. I've fumbled it like 50 times. You guys step into the orchard, which should be called the surgery, but I keep using them interchangeably. You step into the surgery, because why would you know that it's called that? And kind of like the door to shut behind you. Beej, are you with them or are you staying outside?
Yeah, I'll be with them.
Okay. As you are stepping through the door, Beej, you hear, whoa, 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 whoa! And you hear, brum, 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 and turn around to see Veda the Hound jump through the door. And this big metal dog looks around at you all and sits.
Good boy?
From behind, muffled through the stone door, you hear,
I managed to reprogram Veda. So she should respond to your commands.
Good girl.
Sit.
and Veda
Nicer.
sits. And
Roll
then
over.
you say
Be
sit.
good and sweet.
So here's what happens very rapidly. Harold says sit. Veda sits. Beej says nicer. And Veda like sits like fancy. And then Harold says roll over. And Veda rolls over. And then Beej says nicer. And Veda like slowly and carefully rolls over. Like
Well done.
Good girl.
and Veda's mechanical
Girl.
tail starts to wag.
There we go. Probably got a tail whip as an action.
Extremely funny. But
Veda, stay on high alert. If you see anything besides us living in here, just start barking or something.
Veda's like face leans forward. I described Veda as not having eyes earlier, but then you guys kept describing it as having cute puppy eyes. So you do see like two metal plates lift and like red lights like as Harold says to keep an eye out. And Veda starts to like full Terminator around the space as you are all like continuing to look around.
You know what? I
Get a
think that
little-
thing's actually pretty creepy. Beej, if you want to take control over that, that'd be great.
A chill went down my
You
spine
don't
when
think
it
that's
looked past.
cute? What, do you have a problem with red?
No, I got a problem with sort of the metallic beast wandering an inch behind us.
My
red.
daughter? Question mark.
Sure. What's his name?
Beta.
All right, not gonna change his name. Sure.
Baby Beach.
Baby Beach.
Beach with two Z's.
Beejet.
Too good. Simply too good. All right. So Corvan goes, great. So what did you want to talk to me about?
Oh
yeah. Well, there was an area at the end of the prison area. Like, the main thing is that there might be some sort of like either trap there or other thing that we kind of did not quite investigate that might either be very lethal or another secret to this place.
Certainly.
So your help would be great there.
I
And
do.
we did find a couple. Sorry?
I just say I'd be happy to take a look. That'd be fantastic. Yes.
Great. If you want someone to touch something, though, that might be dangerous, let me or I guess Harold do that for you. Just in case.
Okay, cool. I do have one question before we get too far, because the party is going on in the room behind you. What did you do with the equipment and bodies of the Viscount, the cleric, and Morris's gun? I just need to know. I assume they're somewhere safe. Just like, where are they? Did they
Yeah.
get pulled into the temple room
Could
with the
be.
glass that you were in? Are they in the bag of holding right now? Like, where did those things land?
We would have filled up one of the bags of holding that we grabbed for sure.
Okay, so you like took one of the bags of holding they had, dumped it out, and like kept the good stuff, and then tossed the bodies inside. Okay, that makes perfect
Yeah.
sense to me. Great.
Yeah. And then maybe giving his gun with the sigil on it to our friend to try to like get the sigil removed so he could like use it freely
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
after he's done with Veda.
so Fitz fixes Veda. He is still working on whatever you wanted him to do with the shackle from the first Bastille that you fought, and now he is trying to get the glyph of domination off of Morris's gun. Okay, great. Cool. I just wanted to make sure I knew so that later when you were like, I want to surgically get the Count's body attached to mine, I wouldn't be like, it was taken by a bandit. Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. So you guys are now back inside of this area. You can see where a couple of people have stepped inside. You can see a couple of new footprints from people who made their way into the building in the last few minutes. Nobody seems to have wanted to go in too far. Thankfully, this place really is quite alarming. You see most people stop at the front door, and a couple of people got in deep enough to see this sort of large, terrible amalgam of dead flesh. And the workroom attached to the right with stitched together mages of Remgastelon and agents of Edifice, and most people turned around there. It doesn't look like anybody yet delved in. Only a couple of like the mages of Remgastelon would be willing to kind of take that on. So are you guys actually headed directly towards like the cells that were up against that one corner?
Yeah, at the very end where the vines were, because there might have been like some sort of like lever button or other like area beyond that.
Yeah, great. So as you head that way, Harold, what's up?
While we
I'm
go, I'm gonna gesture to Lemon. Lemon, go ahead and show him the art as well, because we want to get.
I'm not
a
with
feel
you
for it.
guys.
Oh, you stayed up. Gotcha.
You could have passed off the bag if you wanted them to be able to look at the stuff inside.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, cool.
So I'll say, Harold,
So
then
I
you just
follow
have
the
the
art.
bag and can pull out the paintings.
And I say, Lemon wanted you to take a look at this. Kind of a trade secret right now. These are clearly important people. We think probably Vemeral. So we're trying to keep that on the down low for at least a little while. Knowledge
course.
power and all that.
I'd be happy to take a look. And I'm gonna make a history check for you, boy. Which painting do you show him first? You have two. You have Relgar.
I
you
would
have-
show him
Yeah, go ahead.
whichever one we picked up first is the one that I would show first.
So the portrait of Relgar Orain is the first one that you see. It says Relgar Orain across the bottom. You show it to him, and he's gonna make a history check. He goes, I do know this man. This was Relgar Orain. He was the sword master to Balyar Deathwoken. He was the
Oh damn!
he was the defender of the throne for the first 50 years of the War of Principles. I don't know why they would have a portrait of him here. He supposedly went missing on a battlefield.
Well, we sort of got
He was.
we're theory crafting a bit, but we believe
I can actually tell you where. He says, in the Materan Forest. There was a great battle there, and he went out into the woods with his force, and he never returned.
So we've got a theory, and it's that the Vemeral are in fact the same people, being reborn into a new body over and over and over again using various necromantic magic. Our friend back there from the journey here,
Yes.
he had been locked up and experimented on. They were empowering him, building up his shoulders.
Calroy, I was wondering what his wounds were.
Yeah. And they were chanting, and I do like parts of the chant. I don't do all of it because I got that mind control thing. I do some of the chant
I've
to
heard
him,
that down
but
here
I
before.
pause it. Yeah.
Yes, I've heard that from some of the when we first arrived, and he kind of gestures to the mages of Remgastelon outside the door. We overheard some of them through the door, like they were singing it to themselves almost. I'd heard it a few times, but not much since. And then of course I heard it when you pulled that man free. Zariak was singing it when we opened the Bastille.
Yeah. But they were doing that. It was a whole religious chant ceremony thing, and they had the bow, and we think that it was to get him.
So it's
Calroy.
not. So it's not like reincarnation. They aren't born into a new
No,
body. They are.
no.
They take over.
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like their
vessel.
soul, their essence is in the weapon they used in life, and now when it's used, you get taken over.
By the gods, I hope nobody immediately grabs one of the weapons without having this information somewhere.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be
That'd be
terrible.
wild. Yeah, no,
Wait,
cursed item and all.
Yeah, and
Should
like, with
we-
2 others floating around in the
Doesn't sound likely.
chambers, it's
Should we tell
kind
people
of like ticking bombs.
so that they don't touch them?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, who would listen?
Yeah.
I suppose.
they just think that we're lying, so we get all the good stuff. Might sour some relationships.
We can tell them. We can tell them that you can safely touch it with like gloves, and as long as you don't make like direct contact with it. But that is the main hazard.
I can talk
Yeah.
to Orax. If I talk to Orax, I can at least make sure that none of the mages who are following the law, the bidding of Orax, I can at least make sure that they don't interact with any of them too much, at least without proper precaution. But that might be the best that I can offer.
And the other best option is we have to be faster than everybody else. If we get to the items first, no problem.
What are the odds that after you find one, somebody... I mean, it's going to be days before anybody finds another
Of
one of
course.
these.
What are the odds they're both so close?
Ca-
You know?
0%. There's no chance.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Obviously.
So we'll tell the group leaders,
Okay.
we'll give them a heads up so they can tell their people, and then we're just simply going to be faster. We're going to grab the items before anybody else can get their gribbers on them.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Is that why you brought me down? Is there anything else you wanted to?
Oh, I've got another portrait here, and I show the second.
I'm
portrait.
gonna give him advantage because he knew who Relgar Orain was.
I'll give them guidance too. Just
Oh
be
wow!
like,
All right. Yeah. Add it.
Yeah, and I'll just be like, don't worry about the surroundings here. Focus on the painting itself.
I mean, well, I'm
Yeah, the steel dog's got you covered. Don't worry
I'm-
about it.
very glad I got my notes together.
And tell me, what's your middle name? Where are you from?
We don't have middle names in the Federation.
Nice.
Get fucking dunked on. Where am I from? I am actually from Remgastelon. My father. Listen, I don't want to sound like a nepo baby. My father is a professor at the academy, so I grew up in town.
Nice.
Yes.
From the West Coast.
Yeah.
Do you recognize
Um,
this
hmm?
guy? You recognize this one? The second painting?
I'm waiting to find out the result of my guidance.
Oh, I see.
I roll that. Sorry.
I feel
forgot.
some kind of blessing, but it hasn't quite gotten all the way in yet.
Hasn't
2.
hit.
A 2. Okay, great. That actually is high enough. You show him the second portrait, and he goes, "Yes, I am seeing a pattern. This is
Yeah.
Perona Vane, the one of the assassins for Balyar Deathwoken, who
Hmm.
also went missing during the War of Principles about 5 years after Relgar did."
All right. And he can't, there's an assassin, Grey Warrior, anybody else really come to mind?
I am gonna let him roll. It is a DC 25 for him to be able to like backdoor that, because that's a crazy pull. But he would be like, okay, so who else very predominant,
there,
famous
general
went
level.
missing like around that like time isn't too bad.
All right, and he's got a 1 on his guidance for that.
He goes, unfortunately, you have to understand, it's uncanny that these two went missing. If you die in war and no one finds your body, you're missing. And the War of Principles was fought for almost 200 years. Many people went missing, were not found over the course of that war. I mean, it was quite the spanning thing. So it's hard to know, really.
Well, it was a long shot. Maybe we can find the portrait right up through here. And I assume at this point we're getting close to...
Yeah, you guys at this point step through the, like, the thaumaturgy, not the prestidigitation, like, instant clean room, and you all, like, suddenly all of the, like, dried blood, like, peels off of you. All of your dead skin is gone. Everybody's baby soft. You guys just make your way through now pretty much completely clean. Something I was thinking about the other day, and I just want to chime in with this really quick. Using prestidigitation to clean your teeth would change my life forever. The ability to go
gone
and not have to worry about that would be just unbelievable.
So nice.
He goes, "Oh my God!" As you are stepping in this like long hallway dungeon with a smashed dead body of a flesh golem on the floor, the body of the Iron Maiden in the other corner with its mask like ripped off that I think Beige still has in their bag. The like one body in one of the rooms, and he goes, "Oh, so this is where you found Calroy, huh?" Like,
yeah, this is only the warm up too. Next room over there is actually crazier.
All right. And so tell me what you guys are doing in this room.
So
just as a reminder, items that you found here. You found a blue gemstone that was glowing brightly. You found the mask that the Iron Maiden was wearing, and I think that's it for in here.
The sensor as well.
Oh, yeah, and the sensor. That's the other thing I was thinking of, that sensor. For the record, everybody, Beige smells incredible. Beige just smells the best. Actually, Beige has advantage on all persuasion checks for, I think, another, like, hour and a half. So.
Not necessary.
Let's go.
Didn't need it.
Cinnamon
Persuade the city
lilacs.
itself.
So, lead the way, Hilver. This was the room you wanted to check out.
Yeah, like that one last stalker. See his body down here? It's like pointing at this wall.
Yeah.
So
Hilver,
if you want to help me take a look at it.
You walk back through this hallway, and again, you're passing these cells on the left-hand side. They're all giving kind of an unearthly green glow to the space because they have these brightly glowing silence runes inside, carved into the floor. As you get to the end, that green light dissipates somewhat, and those like blue torches on the walls fill this kind of next space. You see a couple of things, as I narrated previously. On your left-hand side, up against the wall, you see that there are shackles. There are like manacles in the wall, and there are piles of bones on the ground beneath them. Because contrary to what fantasy might have you believe, you would not stay with your arms comically up in the manacles if your body was abandoned there. So there's just sort of piles of bones on the floor. Directly in front of you are 3 statues. The middle statue is of Zariak, the seer, who you freed, but when he was much younger. There's 2 other statues, one to either side. On the right-hand side of the room, back into the corner, are those 2 skeletons. One of them it looks as if one of them was tackling the other to the ground, and the one that was being tackled rose its hand, threw its hand up over its body, and it's like gripped in a fist over its head. So it's a very odd kind of look, and they are completely mummified in thorns and vines that actually fully grab and have held the bones of them together and wrap around the first statue quite a lot and sprawl out around the walls. This is this really nasty looking thick briar patch of thorns and vines that is kind of entombing these 2 bodies. So where exactly are you kind of directing your attention?
I guess maybe they triggered that first statue and like the vines came out of it or something. But should we investigate that first to see if that's where they're originating from?
Sure.
Yeah, Hilver, what
Alright.
I
check
walk
are
up
you
with
rolling
my
on? What?
big torch.
Yeah, Harold, you step forward with your torch that you've kept this whole time. You have this ever-burning torch.
So I'm giving you the help action with your investigation.
Which I did. I was thinking about this the other day. That was extremely clever because it also means that Harold will automatically know if anybody tries to sneak in through the back door because his torch will disappear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I did it because it was a cool ever burning torch, but that is.
I know.
also a nice
It just popped into my
benefit.
head the other day. I was like, that's actually kind of
Okay.
fun. Like if if somebody tries to sneak up on you guys all here, if you would try to like seal all the doors, you would know right away. So Hilver, what are you up to? What exactly?
All right. I'll see like how these plants, like where they come from, like as far as like that, how they connect to that first statue, and whether like
Yeah.
it looks like those two people had like touched it maybe, and then the plants like had exploded out and stuck them to the wall or something.
Yeah. So roll either nature or investigation.
All right. I'll try for nature. Hey, I got 17s on both of those, so that's an 18 total.
Nice.
Nice. Great. Okay.
Now roll for nurture.
So with an 18,
Does that like roll reduce the other one?
no, you're fine. With an actually, did you have advantage for any reason?
The help action, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
I just
rolled
wanted to make
double
sure.
seven.
Okay, so you got up to an 18. As you are looking around, you notice a couple things. Number one, the vines are not coming from the statue. They're like wrapped around it. They are coming from the tackler of the two bodies. You can see that those vines meet in this dense knot of briar that is in the chest of the tackler, the one that was sort of pinning somebody down to the ground. And you can see that there is actually quite a large, kind of sweet smelling flower in the middle of that like thorny bundle in their chest. And with an 18, you also know what this is. This is called blood ivy, and it does exactly what it sounds like it does. It is a magical plant. It is from Grove, so it is not from this plane of existence. And it grows violently and rapidly in the presence of blood.
That
So
would
it
kind of
looks
maybe
like-
explain.
It embedded, somebody had this and like tackled the other person to the ground and killed them both with it.
Hmm.
Do either of the people here, do either of them look non-humanoid? Or do they both look like regular people or elves or dwarves or anything like that?
Yeah, go ahead and make a medicine check because you are looking at bones. Like there is a
Yeah.
certain degree of question there.
I'll give you guidance for medicine.
Guidance. And Corvain will give you the help action.
Nice.
You guys have like a whole little research team.
What did I get on that guidance?
Oh, I'll roll. 4.
4.
Dang. 21.
21. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, so the the tackler, you take a look at their bones just a little bit more closely, and a couple, not all of them, a few of their bones look like they have a mix of normal, like ossified material and what looks like petrified wood. And there's small differences. The forearms are a little too long. The rib cage has like an extra set of ribs at the bottom. This is an elf who has tackled a human to the ground.
All right. Well, clearly this one's reaching for something, and I follow like my hand up if I were like standing upright next
Yeah,
to
so the
them,
one
and I
that
see
thrust
where
its
I'm at
hand
the
up in
end.
the air.
Yeah.
You look around, you look up. We'll keep that same check rolling. It doesn't look like they're reaching for anything that's like above them. And then as you take a look, you can see that their fingers have been bent back. And as you take a look, the vines on the back of their hand have like some bruising and breaks where they were kind of snapped by somebody at some point. So this person, whoever they were, as they were dying, held an item, an object over their head, and then at some point later, somebody came up and like broke their hand bones in the vines and took whatever it was out of their hand.
Maybe that was
Could
the
be-
last vessel of the Vemeral?
Hilver, as you are taking a look, the position of their hand and like you look at like how far they would have been gripping, and it looks like it would have been the bow would have filled that space. So what you now gather from this herald is some elf with this extremely lethal carnivorous plant either in their pocket or embedded in their chest tackled this Vemeral to the ground to kill them both, and the Vemeral at the last minute held the bow up so that somebody could come take it after they were dead.
Well, I guess that mystery solved. No hidden rooms, unless you guys want to fiddle with the torches and statues and see if we can spin them around or something.
I guess we could. I mean, maybe are the statues connected to maybe bastilles in this place, or some other use that Zaryak and the others had?
The middle statue depicts Zaryak. You
I
can
mean,
take a
it's
look
good
at
to
this.
know there's 3 of them.
Yeah. Does it look like it has any like operation, or is it just decorative?
Make an investigation check as you take a closer look.
All right. Can I do an Arcana check for this one, just to see if there's anything magical to it?
Yeah, it just
or-
limits the information I get you.
All right. 21 for the Arcana check.
21 for the Arcana check. There's nothing magical going on with the statues. They just seem to depict 3 figures. The middle one, like I said, is Zaryak, who you know. He's a human man. He looks much younger. He looks to be maybe in his 30s or 40s. In the statue, he is like short, kind of wavy hair, is dressed in the untattered versions of the robes he had on. So it is extremely true to life of probably what he was wearing when he was captured. The figure on the left is, ironically enough, another elf. The statue is of a very tall, slender, elven woman whose skin seems to have been almost entirely replaced by bark. And you can actually see they are starting to grow like branches out of the top of their head, like they have a crown on that is like slowly sprouting, and they are again in a much similar pose. And on the right you see a very large what we would know as is like a fire giant Goliath, so like a descendant of giants, with like bright, well, unfortunately it is a statue. If they weren't a statue, their skin would be like bright red. That's a prospect thing. You see that they are this like very large, kind of intense looking figure with a very prominent necklace around their neck that you can quite clearly see. And it, just one second while I look through my notes for the 50th time today. You can go ahead and make a religion check if you would like to see if you know who this is.
All right.
Who the symbol depicts.
All right.
I'll
that's
help you out as
7.
well.
All right. Oh, got a nat 1 on the second one, but a 13 plus 4 for the religion total.
So because you are, so a 17?
Yeah.
So because you are you and you have the backstory you have, I'll give it to you on a 15 plus. Because you sort of investigating where gods come from. This is a forgotten lower god. This is Far Elkant, the first giant. The like symbol is the symbol of Far Elkant, the first giant. And that god was killed, forgotten, something like that. There are still Goliaths, and people still know Far Elkant's name, but they no longer answer prayers. And so the odds are they were... You know, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with spirits. They are not as unimpeachable as true, like the outer gods are. So, you know, they can be killed, they can be trapped, all kinds of things can happen to them.
Well, there's 3 statues and 3 Vemerals, so I wonder if these 3 were also tied into the creation of those Vemeral weapons, or maybe the continuation of them.
Maybe they're just Vemeral aides, like aide de camps.
Well, that would mean that
Backup
Zaryak is lying to you.
True. Unless they were aides after they became Bastilles. They just didn't have a say in the matter.
So
well, let's
yeah, we've got a couple of assumptions. One of the assumptions floating around is that there's two other Bastilles wandering around with these other two inside, or maybe Zaryak hasn't been totally honest with you, and maybe they each had like an assignment while they were here. Who can say?
we're gonna bring back the information to Zaryak, see what he says. I can zone a truth him. Always an
Hysterical.
option.
Yes, might be a bit rude, but worthwhile, I guess, if he seems hesitant or.
It's true, but we also saved him from an eternity of being in a big suit of
You
metal
get a
and
lot
stone.
of social credit really fast when you
Yeah.
pull somebody out of a perpetual prison in the dark.
Exactly.
Did not
So I
look
think
like
it'll
he
be
was
all
gonna-
right.
You
Yeah.
get a lot of brownie points pretty much right away when you do that one.
All right, I'm gonna pull on the torches real quick, just see if they do anything, just in case there's a secret door or something like that in this big dungeon. I go up to the torch on the left, like the blue torch. I pull on, I lift it up out of the thing. Does it do anything?
Which torch? There's four. So there's one on either wall, and then there's two kind of between the two statues. Which one do you touch?
Oh, I'll touch the one on the left between the two statues.
You touch the one on the left between the two statues, and nothing happens.
All right, touch the one in the middle, on the other side, on the right in the middle.
Okay, make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh. 12 plus 4, 16.
Plus you're a paladin. So you get like a
that's
plus
with the-
3 or whatever?
That's with the plus 3. I got a plus 1 to my dex, so I get a plus 4.
Okay.
So 16, I feel probably does it.
It does not. It's not a huge deal.
No.
It's not as lethal of a trap as maybe you were afraid of. As your hand goes out to touch it, the flames from inside of the torch jump to you, and you all watch
Whoa.
Harold ignite for 12 points of fire damage, and it quickly dissipates. Like, just enough to fry a random person if they went to touch it. And Harold, so I'll just ask, your hand was like 4 inches from touching it when that happened. Do you continue to reach out and grab it? Or do you,
Yeah, it
like,
didn't
back
kill
off a
me.
little
I
bit?
grab it.
Okay.
I grab it for sure.
You reach out and grab it, and the 3 kind of statues all react in a small way. The statue on the left of the elf, you watch a like little something in the stone of the head starts to like glow faintly green. On the statue on the right, the one that pictured the fire giant, you see Fire Goliath. You see that in its chest, something starts to glow orange. Zaryak statue, nothing happens.
All right. Cool. There's this one. It did something. I'm gonna touch the other ones, right?
Those little glowing spots.
No, I mean like the other torches, just see if they do anything.
Okay, I'll touch the little glowing spots then.
Harold,
All
normal
right,
torches.
I'll wait here.
Okay,
I'll hold this one while you do that.
for the record, normal
All right.
torches. You don't like lift it
Okay.
out of the wall. For the record, you touch it, and this happens. This torch seems like affixed to the wall in some way. Hilver,
Yeah,
which
I'll
one do you touch?
The left one on the elven person for the glowing stone head piece.
You reach out and you touch it, and you start to hear singing in your head. Make a wisdom saving throw.
All right, and that's
You
a
get an
plus
additional bonus. What was it?
You guys have a
Oh, is your
nose
aura
for
plus
trouble.
3?
Yeah, plus 3.
Okay, so
Beige has just been getting
26.
increasingly in the cartoon of this show after we have the budget. Beige has been getting increasingly angry and chibi in the background. Like Beige has been becoming more of a Tamagotchi and more angry as you have all continued to touch things. Sorry, what was the result?
Notice how Beach
26.
has not anything.
26. Good news, yeah. You feel a sensation that you've all felt, and that Harold is the only one that has dealt with the kind of negative effects of. You feel a memory try to kind of bubble up from your own past, Hilver, and you manage to kind of push it down and out of the way. And you continue to hear the singing in a sort of hoarse, feminine voice.
can I like speak like in my mind towards this? I at least like want to try to like put out just like
Yeah,
we're
you've
here now. We've rescued Zaryak. We will try to rescue you.
you've been messaged and sent messages, and you've been sended probably before. Go ahead and make a persuasion check to kind of try to get through to whoever is on the other side.
11 minus 2, a 9.
Now, can we have some sort of additional, because we know Zaryak's name? Maybe there's an advantage there.
He's been freed from his Bastille.
For reasons that you are not aware, that would not aid you in this.
Fair enough.
There's
We're
just
probably talking to the system that's imprisoned him.
It's just something that you don't know
Gotcha.
in kind of the background of that. But no, so you get the sense you are absolutely connected to this person. Like you get that sense. And you say something, and you get just that singing back. You get nothing. You don't hear any change in tone or inclination to suggest. You know that you sent this message out, and you know that they received it. You didn't feel... You're basically casting message. You felt that it didn't fail. This person just does not respond to you.
Okay.
What do you think if we break the statue?
Should we maybe ask Zaryak first? He might have some insight about this.
Sure. With the zone of truth.
Yeah. Good
All
point.
right. I say let's get out of here. Celebrate, drink some alcohol, pilfer the things we need to pilfer, and then talk to Zaryak about these statues and maybe destroy them if Zaryak says it's a good idea.
Yeah. And I guess as we're walking away, I'll be like, that singing is really strong, but like the Vemroll themselves seem to kind of like be part of it and bent to it as well. So I guess once we find those objects, we also might need to like figure out where the singing is coming from. They might be kind of like the bishops to whatever vocal cords those are.
The less I know about the horrible necromantic death rite chant, the better.
Okay.
I'll just kill whatever's singing it and be done.
Harold would survive
Great.
an H.P. Lovecraft novel. Harold would live so easy. Harold and Beige could skate through the mountains of madness
No
easy. They'd be like,
problem.
we're going to take the plane to the strange mountains. And Harold and Beige will be like, I'll be at base camp. Like, there'd be no issue.
I'll keep everybody else safe. I am gonna have my eyes closed the whole time, though. I'm not looking at it.
All right, so do you guys want to interact with the other statue in any way? And is there anything you want to do in the surgery before you leave?
All right. Harold, I'll try to reach out to this one too, just in case. Just
Now,
be-
before you touch it, this is out of character.
Yeah.
What save? What was it? A wisdom save?
Yeah.
So it was a wisdom
What's your
saving
wisdom?
throw when you first touched, and then it was a persuasion check to try to make contact.
Yeah. So my wisdom saving throw is a +6.
Is that including my +3?
No. So +9.
All right,
total.
my wisdom is +6, but my charisma is +9. What's your charisma?
-2.
Okay, maybe I'll take the next one. I'll give you a break from the song, and I'll
Sounds
touch
good.
this.
You
this
are
one.
big and strong like this one too, so maybe you can kind
Yeah,
of relate on a
there's
like strength
connection
level.
there.
All right, Harold. So you reach out and touch the second statue, and immediately you hear, in a very different octave, the song being sung in your head.
Extra high.
No. That would be extremely funny. He's like a high falsetto.
I rolled a natural 1.
On your wisdom save?
Yeah.
This is an ideal situation to roll that nat 1 in, is what I'll say. If you were ever going to roll a natural 1 on the wisdom save against the song, this is like the perfect
it.
conditions in which to do it. Harold,
Nice.
we see another...
The only motherfucker who's failed
I know, twice
is
now.
Harold.
We see another memory. This one is much less pleasant than the last one. Talk to me about the day Harold left to go to Bastion.
The Moloch had been...
And I assume at this point Beige is like in the background, or did you meet Beige when you went to Bastion?
it would be at Bastion. I
Okay.
wouldn't have met at the Moloch. The Moloch, this was... It had been like paddling along for so long after the major cities pulled out their support. Harold was born after it became a Moloch.
Yeah.
Like after it was abandoned. And it just got to the point where there were monsters and encroachers and bandits constantly, and too many people had been killed in the Moloch for it to function at all. So Harold and a group of like 20 others set out with what small handmade wagons they could make, the mules they had, and they went towards one of the major cities, looking for some version of opportunity, not knowing that most of them would die on that journey.
So Harold is sort of forging out alone in this.
Yeah.
Were you like thrown out when you said you wanted to go to Bastille, or did you leave of your own accord to like make one less mouth to feed, or did you just leave in the middle of the night and not say anything?
This was with that small group. So when word got around that like it's just not going to happen anymore, Harold was willing to do it, and so were these like 15 other people, and nobody else in town was willing to actually see the writing on the wall. Harold was only like 15 when this happened, but he set out with this small group, and that was it.
So you are making your way through the desert with this large group, this like large arid land. You see the sort of crawling foothills, and you know that somewhere out there is, if memory serves, I believe it's a silver mine that has run dry. I think that's what we said. I'll double check at some point. Sort of watching your home get smaller and smaller in the distance. And this memory is coming back to you. You know, like you remember this, and you just suddenly remember a part of the memory, something that somehow you had managed to forget. You look over, and one of the other members of your little cadre here is playing a violin. And in the moment you didn't think it was weird, but now you just stop and you look and you realize the person holding it was like the old foreman of the mine. He's in like his 50s, and you never saw him play an instrument ever. You never knew, and in the moment it was just something curious, but now you're stuck in this and you realize he's playing the song. He's playing the song that you heard from the Bastille, the song that Zariak sang, the song you heard when you were a boy. It's the same song. And you are increasingly getting this dreadful feeling, Harold, that you have always known this song. And you snap out of it, and this is when you would then be made to take an action against your will, and there's no action to take. You are in a room by yourself. You feel a connection between you and this other figure. You hear this voice like, I don't... singing that same song. You're now getting the sense that it is like, you've heard it in a couple of different spots, and you are getting the sense that it is a very long song. You have not heard like a verse repeated yet. The melody stays the same, but the words are like this endless kind of spiral. But you do feel this connection. What do you say?
Do we have the name of that the first giant, the god?
Yeah, Hilver did. So it was Farelkant.
I say, wake up, you big son of a bitch. Farelkant's looking for you. Everybody else has forgotten the name. Get up. Snap out of it.
All right, I will give you advantage. Roll twice, take the higher. He knows who that is.
Yeah, I felt I could trust that at
Yeah.
least.
Uh-huh.
23.
And you also accidentally learn in this moment that he speaks common.
Thank
So
God.
he's not that ancient, right? He's ancient. So like, Pylord had invented the common tongue when this guy was alive. You reach out and make this connection, and the singing blissfully for you, I think, probably stops for a moment. And you hear, what? You speak the young man's tongue. Where am I? What is this place? What?
You're in a...
And you hear like a thunk, 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 thunk. You hear him starting to like bang around wherever he is.
I open my ears as wide as I can, like in reality, and I'm seeing if I can hear anything.
There's
a chance.
Make a perception check. You need a nat 20. This is preposterous.
All right.
If you get a nat 20,
there's
you
a
blood
2
out.
on it. A 2.
A 2. With a 2, Harold, I think in this moment, Harold, you get a little swept up in the adventure of it all. And you're like,
Yeah.
I know what must happen next. And you close your eyes, and there's nothing to hear.
Damn it.
Other than... You start to hear like sounds of strain from the other side. And I'll see if I roll a nat 20.
Yeah, hey. While you're rolling it, Harold
7.
says, keep banging. Me and my adventuring party, we're down here. We're looking for people. We already got one of you guys out, so we're looking for you. But keep banging.
You don't hear a response at that point. You just
Fair
hear, because you succeeded on your persuasion check, now all you hear is this thunk, 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 and it takes you a moment to realize that he has stopped singing, but he is hitting out the
beat.
tempo of the song. Not even meaning
Time.
to.
All right.
And you
And
let
I
go.
take my hand off.
And at the back of your head, Harold, you swear, maybe like a ringing in your ears, you occasionally, when it's too quiet, hear the song again.
That sucked, guys. Really don't do that. Don't do that again.
Thanks for taking that hit for me, then. You looked a little
Yeah,
pale there.
The giant though, he's banging away. He's trapped in some room. So if we hear banging during our adventures, maybe about 25% chance it's him and not some other big monster.
You know,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So, all right, let's get out of here because now I'm a little bit hurt from the fire.
Okay,
All right.
very good. You guys turn and start to walk out into the main area one last time. Anything else you want to do in the surgery before you leave?
I'll give you one hand of healing to help with that fire,
Thank you.
and that'll be 6 points of health.
6. Lemon, did you have something?
No, sorry, I yawned.
Gotcha.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say about my game, Lemon? No.
Absolutely none. I've been awake since 4 a.m.
Cut it out. All right, cool. So you guys head out back towards the main area. As you're stepping through into this central area, and you open the doors, you see that the scene outside has gone pretty raucous at this point. Lemon is kind of schmoozing with people, and Bartholomew and I did roll a check offsite. Bartholomew and Fitz have managed to fix Morris's gun, and Morris is now doing trick shots to impress the mages using his falcon, and seems to be enjoying the more lackadaisical attitude that they have versus the agents of Edifice that he had been rolling with beforehand. So I'm gonna sort of just go like kind of person to person here. What are we up to in this space? Like, what's our priorities here in this kind of moment of breath? You've caught up a little bit with what you wanted to look at there. You still have maybe some new discoveries to make. Where are we at?
Guys, I'm going to say something that's maybe a little bit illicit. This is not legal.
All right, sounds good.
We killed those guys. Also not extremely legal, but you know, this is kind of a gray area. But to the victors, I would say go the spoils. There's a really nice custom-made airship about 100 feet up from where we are right now. Are we going to go get that? We going to steal the keys? I don't know how airships really work. Are we going to anchor it and spray paint our name on the side? Are we doing nothing with it?
Go ahead and make a you have vehicle proficiency, right? Isn't that like, aren't you the
Yeah.
only person to ever have that? So go ahead and make a I guess intelligence and proficiency check to see if you know how airships work.
-1, baby, and then proficiency plus
So it's
3, so plus
Plus
2.
Yeah, let's see how this
I'll
works.
give you... Oh, wait, it's a flat intelligence, not a skill check, right?
No, it's a skill
Or
check.
is-
Yeah.
Okay. Can guidance work for those?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's skills and tools and things. All right, I'll give you guidance for that. I'll be
Roll
like,
high, brother.
Roll high.
yeah, so I'm like, yeah, that is a
The
very
DC's
like,
not
fancy one with all
super
the
high. This is
crystals
like
and
knowing
stuff.
what car keys look like. This is not a DC 50
A 4?
check.
Yeah.
That's a 15. I
A
was hoping for a
15.
4 on that.
Uh,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You would know that specifically ships from Edifice do need, there's like they have it's not like a key. They have it's a trinket. It can be pretty much whatever the pilot wants, and that needs to be on board for the ship to take off. But it can be anything. It can be a key, it can be a crystal, it can be a pocket watch, it can be anything. It's just the enchantment of the flying of the ship is tied to an object.
Veda.
I'm gonna go over to John Morris.
Yeah, sure.
Hey,
You see one of
hate to interrupt.
the mages like summons 2 sparks, and John like and like hits one of them and it explodes into like confetti. As he turns and goes, "Hey, what's up?"
The idol of passage on the airship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that was?
I'm gonna roll a perception check with disadvantage because he's drunk.
Nice.
He's had a stressful day. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. He goes, he didn't have like I didn't ever see him pull out like a trinket for it. I think it was kind of his like. I think he had it in his his like
Person?
whole thing.
He
was he was a robot.
Body armor. Yeah, his robot armor.
I think it was in there somewhere.
All right. Yeah, cool. I'll take a look at that.
Do you want a
when we're
drink?
not surrounded
And
by
he takes a
people.
wineskin.
Yeah.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
I drink. I give a thumbs up to the rest of the party. Like, I think we've got a way onto the ship, but we do need to decide if we're actually doing that or not. And then I take another glug.
Well, as long as we have the key, at least no one else can take off with it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Here you go. I give the wineskin back.
Thank you. He takes it back. It kind of goes back to messing around with the mages, unless you have anything else to ask him.
Nah, I'll jump it over to Lemon.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are entitled to that ship. It is ours by, and if anyone wants it, they will have to kill us for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
you see, there is definitely a little bit of the rule of the jungle thing going on down here. There's a lot of like, oh, they seem to have claimed it. It's kind of theirs. Like you can see as you're looking around, you're seeing people, a lot more people are like openly moving now without the kind of constant threat in this lower tier here. And you see that people aren't going towards your area, like the temple with the glass windows inside, like people aren't going near it. And you see that the only people going towards the pools of water are talking to somebody outside first and handing over a few coins and then going inside.
Yeah.
And you see that like even the mages, a couple of them are starting to like whisper in smaller groups and keep looking over at you guys and looking at the door into the surgery. And you can tell that everybody's trying to like not piss you guys off and is sort of like trying to get a feel for like what is. So there is a little bit of, it seems that you guys kind of do own this place until somebody important like Orax is almost certainly going to come talk to you in the next like hour.
Could we?
And ask like, what is this? Like, what is going on? You did this, that's great. What's the situation now? Like, we don't understand yet. But it's just that conversation would be kind of rude to have now.
Also, if we have an airship, we can sell tickets for people to come back home with us.
Oh, so true. That'll cap out some extra for a little bit short. All right, yeah.
We ought to make exuberant ticket prices, but an armor piece here, some gold there.
Yeah, just some. You were looking at the dog, Lemon. You wanted to look at the dog.
Oh no! I thought that the dog might be the key.
Oh, you look at. I see what you mean. You look at the dog. I thought you meant you're going over to look at the dog just to like check something out. I see. Yeah. All right. Cool. So airship, we're claiming the shit out of the airship. Doesn't need to be the second though. We've got the key.
Great. And if any of Corvin, there is a little like I think a journal library here too. If the mages are interested in the history of this place.
There's a what? Corvain gets
Yeah.
visibly excited. Like a library
Yeah.
of journals?
Yeah, with the threat of the stoic angry guy out there, I sort of nabbed the most recent one. If you want to take a look at this with me right now.
Yes. And he will like kind of He like half snatches it out of your hand as you start to flip through the pages together. Now, point of order, Corvain does speak a pretty good amount of Deathwoken. He doesn't speak all of it, but he
good.
speaks enough to translate. And so you hand him, you just have the last book, right?
Yeah, this is the most recent one of the ones in the chronology. And I'm not sure if like the witch creature itself was the one who wrote these. It seems so, because they had like fresher writing utensils over there.
Yeah, you're sort of taking a look through as he starts to take a look, and he just will kind of read it out loud as he passes through. The format, as you start to flip through the pages for the first time, everything is in their language, is in the language of the primacy. But you see that, you can tell just by looking at the way it's written, that some of it is in like verse, and some of it is journal, and then it'll go back to verse and then back to journal, and then in some parts there will be like multiple pages of like schematics and diagrams of different drawings of like oh gosh, the word isn't coming to me right now. Not like an autopsy, surgery. You see like surgical drawings of things, and you see depictions of the different creatures you've seen here, kind of interstitched with notes and verse, and eventually he translates little bits. He's telling you about that. He's saying like there's descriptions of some of what they were doing and some of the surgeries they were performing and the augmentation, and he gestures to some of it and he explains a little bit, and you see that a lot of it, you see these like bright bronze elements seem to be kind of like magically juiced, and you know that the witch was wearing like a diadem that was bronze that was magical, and so it makes sense. Her head is in the bag with the diadem assumably still on it. As you continue to look through, he does translate the most recent passage directly. Subjects, given o'er by the piper, our doors broken at last, our halls alive with blood and flesh and fear, the day has come. The return is upon us one and all. We will hear our Lord's words again. When the piper calls, no voice will be exempted from the orchestrations. The chorus's work is at last proven, their sacrifice, their blessing vindicated. Our Lady of the distant star, Perona Vane, will walk this world again tonight. And that looks brand new. The ink is dark, untouched by time. It looks like it was written in the last 24 hours, last day or two.
So that must have been like the Journal of the Witch had placed then, I guess, with the preparations. But hopefully some of the other journals might have a way of like elaborating how they kind of created these rituals, and perhaps a way of ending these memorable weapons as well, and sending those souls on their way.
And the last few sketches are of no, what's the elf's name? I got it right here. I'm a fool.
Calroy.
Calroy Elmroot. You see the last few drawings are of Calroy with like his entire sternum through his shoulder, down his arm sliced open. And like there's drawings of what they were doing and like a record of what they did. And it's, you can't believe he's alive with what they were doing. It's like really unbelievably complicated things.
Great. Well, Corvair, I guess definitely.
There's more like this? There's more books like these?
Yeah, and I guess point in the direction of that. Not the temple, the
pushes the door
choir
open,
area.
and immediately, like all fear has left his body, and he just goes straight back.
Look for references to the Bastille, the three big creatures in the big metal costumes.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Great.
And you
We'll
like
bring you. We'll
show
have
him
someone
the
bring you
room.
some food.
All right. And he like breaks into a run down the hallway over to that door.
Hey, Beige, Lemon, if one of you guys could get the bounty from the robot topside, that'd be real cool.
Who's going for it?
Unless you got bigger plans.
Or Bartholomew should go up and get it. Maybe they're done
Yeah.
with those tasks over there.
Sure, either way. All I got left is to go talk to the wizard that we freed and tell him I'm going to put his own of truth on him. So, like, if we want to go do that as a team and send Bart up there right now, that's
Yeah.
fine by me.
So the major items kind of still on the field here. You've sent Corvain to deal with the journals. Very smart. You have Fitz taking care of technology stuff. That's great. Things we have left. We have we have a little bit of magic item mash 'em up to take care of. We have like a couple of like loose things that you guys don't necessarily know what everything does. You have to go collect your bounty. You have to talk to Zariak. At some point, you know Orax is going to come talk to you and ask you like what the relationship between the bottom line and the Mages of Rumgastelon is. And then if you had any other like, and then go get the airship. So you kind of have like 5-ish kind of floating things. So Harold, are you just going to go talk to, so your plan is to go talk to Zariak by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I'll
Might
take
be a
anybody
group
who
thing.
wants to come because I figure if we're in our area, the head of the mages will come talk to us there too.
Great. Do you guys just want to send Bartholomew up to collect the bounty, or does somebody want to go with him who's playing the game?
I just kind of plan on going and getting the bounty, so I can do that.
Okay, so Lemon and Bartholomew can head that way. Harold is going the other. Hilver, Beige, which group do you join?
With Zariak to kind of key in on him and his reactions as he gets questions
Okay,
asked.
Hilver's with Harold. Beige.
Then I can go with Lemon.
Okay, sounds good to me. So
I feel this charisma boost coming over me.
It's
you
the
see
time.
you see a lot of mages double taking, looking at Beige. You see a lot of like don't make eye contact. Absolutely do not make eye contact. Do not. You see a lot of like Beige looks, and you see 9 people suddenly just get like really busy. Like they're just looking at the molding and whatever. Beige is just like oozing charisma right now.
And it's even more highlighted next to me. Do you know what my charisma score is?
No, what is it, Lemon?
It's 6.
A 6.
Oh.
So not only is Beige both hot and sexy, Beige now also has like contextual attractiveness. Like you're rigging the system here. This is getting kind of ridiculous. As you okay, as
And
we kind
next
of
to you is a walking potato.
all right, we can sort of go with whichever. I'm going to go, let's follow Harold and Hilver first as you guys follow, just cuz you're the closest. Harold and Hilver, you guys make your way over to the door into your kind of your digs. You see that door has been left open because you've had kind of so much traffic back and forth, and Corvain sprinted out to join the fight and didn't shut it behind him. You see that sort of up against the back wall is Zariak. He has now sat himself up. You can see that at some point probably Fitz and the rest put a couple of pillows behind his back and has begun, he is still reading through what was it? Somebody gave him something. He had something. I don't know. I think Corvain gave him something to look at because he was fascinated with the robot at first. And now I'll just say that that's it. Corvain handed over like some of his notes, and you see that Zariak is like reading along the top line. And you know that he didn't speak common before, and Zariak is reading his notes, which are in common.
You get there.
So I
Hey,
guess
big guy, how's it going?
Good. Yes, good, I think. Better all the
Yeah.
time, I believe. My
That's good.
wits are
That's
about me again. Some of my magic has returned. So I can share your
Yeah,
language
that's-
for a time, not for always.
magically enhanced.
Yes,
Ah, handy.
tongues.
Yes.
All right.
You have
We're going to broach a pretty awkward topic here.
you
and
have a
I'm just
dark
I'm gonna rip
countenance
the
upon your
Band-Aid.
face, my friend.
Yeah. We found a
Yeah.
statue of you.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the thing. And there's 2 others next to you, a giant of some variety and an elven woman.
One who was
Uh,
mostly turned into woodland.
could you
herself.
Yeah, she was
describe them
wood.
to me in greater detail? They built a statue to
Yeah.
me here, or of me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was real good.
Yeah. The fire giant had the Farlow Kant kind of like necklace on him, and Harold could reach out and communicate to him in common.
Father of the giants.
So he must.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
The elf did not seem particularly
I-
plussed that I mentioned your name to her. But
My
they might.
time in the Bastille was all darkness, but I did hear voices sometimes, questions. They would ask and then just ask again. No matter what you said, they would just keep asking until eventually you would answer them. It would take they didn't seem to mind. I remember towards the beginning, you swear and curse and tell them to free you and threaten, I don't know, whatever comes to mind, but by the end you learn to just answer. But they would ask questions of me and my work, of the Empire and what I did, of the fuck is the name of the place that I did all my stuff at? Do you have anything else you want to say while I look at this up?
Yeah, the follow-up question I was gonna have is, remind me, how did you get here to begin with? Were you taken in the night? Were you on a mission? And then
Damn,
they
now I really
got
do
you?
need to go find that note. All right, give me 2 seconds.
Then it's pretty important. Yeah.
Or I think he did tell us, like, out of character, he told us that he was like going down like a
He had a
alleyway or
dream.
something and got like mugged. Oh,
No,
dream
you
of that?
you have a little
Okay.
bit of dramatic irony going right now. He had a dream that you were sort of a fly on the wall for. Unfortunately, okay. Let me just see if I can't find it.
Now, while you hunt for that, I'm gonna do some theory crafting here. I think that there's a chance the statues are like simulacra of some sort, and they're just made so well to embody the person to be an arcane connection, so you can send them a message and connect to them and all that good stuff. It just makes it easier if you have a thing that fits, the
Yeah.
vibe.
Maybe a way of like controlling them remotely with those message endings.
Exactly, yeah, something along
Yeah.
those lines.
I can't find it.
So that's
but-
I'm gonna have to pull it up another
that's my
time.
best guess.
So he says that he used to work at a observatory, and I don't have the name in front of me, which is unfortunate. I will find it just in time for us to hang up the call, I'm sure. So he says that he worked there, and he goes, "We had been prophesizing, as we always do. We would read. I was the Archmage Oracle. I was a diviner. I was the head of my institution. Against the urgings of some other members of the Empire, we told the truth. We received an oracle from the stars that the Deathwoken primacy would fall. That's it. We had received the vision. We had received it twice, which was a good sign that it would occur at some point. And it had started to clarify in what we saw, the wheeling of the stars and the changing of times. Some others of the Empire warned us to just keep it quiet, that it might bring the attention of the Vemeral. But it's a prophecy. We thought the Deathwoken would want to know. I was on my way to finally deliver it. I was running. I remember that. I was running down the roadway, and arrows started to fall around me. I continued to run. I knew at that point, everybody knows that there's 3, and the bow and the sword, and I went to turn down an alley, and everything went black. I woke up, and I was already inside of that thing. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't know until you let me out where I was. I just felt pain. I could tell that there were spikes through me, and there was this song, so loud, all day, all night. So it's not like I knew when it was day or night, just constantly. It would only stop when they would ask us questions. For a few moments, it was just endless. And I don't know.
And what, you were in a seer's pool when we found you. What were you doing there? What were you observing? I mean, obviously, oracular visions of some sort.
I don't know. I had no control over the thing. I was powering it, I think. If it was an oracular pool, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I was a good pick for the job. If they needed my power, divination has been my specialty since I was young. I've done it all my life.
Are there
And now
you have
several
any-
lifetimes.
Do you have any proficiency with weapons like the Vemerol had?
Heavens no. I don't think I've ever picked up a blade. I wouldn't know what to do with sticks when I was a boy. You would find one with a little crossguard of a twig and have fun playing with your friends, but certainly not. I don't think I ever picked up anything like that.
Safe to assume
They tried to get a bunch of us to start
You
wearing leathers and armor when the war really picked up, and I couldn't. It wasn't me. I was a diviner. I tell fortunes and read the stars. I predict floods. I'm not on any battlefields.
So it's safe to say they weren't training them up to be Vemerald. They were fulfilling a totally different purpose.
Yeah. And it does
One-
seem like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not they're enemies of the state most likely in some capacity. An oracle they didn't want getting out. Who knows about the other two, but we'll figure that out afterwards. And these are some simulacra that they use to connect with them through the arcane. I think that makes perfect sense.
Sensible.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm.
Corvain was abusive about the topic. Are any of you from the Empire?
Oh, yeah. So this is another touchy subject.
I know it had been a long
Nobody
time.
Really.
Are they not an empire anymore?
No, I'll give you a quick breakdown in the global history. And we pan out for a minute.
Yeah, we fade out to helicopter blades, and you basically, I think from Harold's perspective, you just tell him that half the continent sunk into the ocean, and almost every high-level spellcaster in the world died.
So, in a way,
You can toot your horn even louder.
kind of lucked out a little bit. Yeah, you weren't turned into like a big dragon.
Huh.
They're all gone?
Yeah, I mean, they're powerful. They're powerful wizards now. Again, they've sort of sprouted up over the last, millennia.
But-
But
But everybody from the old Arcaneum, all gone.
yeah. Near as we know,
Gonna make a
right? Yeah.
Wisdom saving throw.
Is he standing near?
A
Harold?
respectable 15.
Hey,
He's still
you're
prone
not
on the
bad.
ground. You see he's hyperventilating a little, and he goes, "All right,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's okay." I mean, now listen, I did know that everybody I knew was dead. That seemed obvious. Just
Mhm.
didn't think it was everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we're
It was
kind of on the
about-
brink of another apocalypse now if these Vemerol do get free, though. But if we're
Yeah,
here to
totally
stop
different.
it, that'll be less change for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. So, I will think of this later on my own time. What did you have any other questions? What did the other two look like? Maybe I saw them.
Tall, elvish woman. She had a crown of wood growing from her head. She was so, covered in that light.
And do you describe the other one as well? You described the
Yeah.
like
The
giant.
fire giant with the necklace and to the god.
I don't recognize the Goliath. I don't recognize him from your description, but the first one could have been there was a well, quite terrifying druid of the elements, one of the last servants of Verdurin, still on this plane. Sorvin. I'd never heard them called anything else, just Sorvin. She was one of a group of druids that basically just kept the primacy from expanding west. They couldn't, so if you were to look at our continent, I'm so sorry, only Spencer and Michael know what I'm talking about. If you were to look at this continent now, it's kind of like a big U shape. It's kind of like a big not U shape, it's kind of like a big bend, kind of a boomerang shape. It used to go out to another large area, which is now gone. But so if you guys are in like the dead middle of the continent right now, which is where the desert is, if you were to go west, you would hit the Federation of Elders. But a very long time ago, the Federation was just up in the top corner, and the rest of that belonged to Verdurin and its servants, so the servants of the god of nature, who is one of these like high gods. And they managed to keep some foothold. They started to vanish by the end of like the first age. As civilization grew stronger, they grew weaker. But into the second age and the War of Principles, they were still there. Their just numbers would dwindle every year. And so it sounds like the reason that the Deathwoken never pushed into the Federation is that on the border was Sorvin and her people that basically held the line for, that druids fully in their power live hundreds of years. So it sounds like Sorvin and her druids held the line for the entire war. Obviously not Sorvin.
And the Goliath probably, it sounds like you were an enemy of the state. She was holding the border. The Goliath is probably, another enemy of some sort, some variety. Some enclave they couldn't get access to. Maybe he was forging weapons that they didn't want forged.
I don't know.
Who knows? But something along those lines.
But
That's good to know.
there's a clue there, at least. I'm
Yeah.
an oracle, and you found me in an oracular pool. So if you look for something to do with the elements and something to do with the forge, might have a
good.
chance.
Yeah. All right, forge. We'll look for a forge.
Sounds good. I mean, we were just in a place called the Orchard, but no giant metal creature
Yeah.
there.
Good point.
Technically called the surgery. No one actually said the orchard in canon.
A place called the
Okay.
surgery. But I think it had the energy of an orchard.
It
is the
did.
thing.
It did. I heard that.
I could feel the
Okay.
orchard.
I
There's
could
probably
sense
some
that.
greener pastures.
I
out
watched
there.
the show to keep me up to date on what you guys are doing. So.
Yeah.
Ah, good.
And if you guys
Remember
have no
to
other
like and
questions,
subscribe.
yeah, we'll cut to up top. Do you guys have any other
Yeah.
cues? Okay, so we cut to Lemon Beach and Bartholomew as you're kind of making your way out into the top area. You are very surprised to see, now that you've spent multiple days down below. Oh no, wait. Because you did go up to get the bounty, so it would be day, night, day. So it is like you came down here under the high sun of the midday, and you come back up, and it is like midday again the next day. Very discombobulating for it to be like almost the exact same time of day as you leave. You guys head back up and out, and you see the kind of various members of the crew of this massive town, basically, that has been built, making their way around. You hear a lot of active chatter. There is like a dull roar of conversation, and you see, as you were looking around, a lot of people who had clearly been kind of sitting around for a while. You see a bunch of people who are like up, throwing packs on, grabbing their things to go back in. Word that there is like a whole new area that was blocked off before that apparently now is open has diluted to just, there's places you can go now, and so people are getting ready to go back in, having not caught the nuance and just caught you can go to the bottom now. They're like starting to quickly whip up into doing so.
If people are running by me to get in, I just go, careful of the traps.
Careful of the traps. You probably save a life or two.
I would like to sing a song
Yeah.
loudly using thaumaturgy.
Yes, great. So like
A
3 times.
lovely, wonderful tale about the bottom line and how they have slain the witch. And I would like to well, I guess I'll start with that.
And Nicole, you get the best feeling in Dungeons and Dragons, which is that you can command your retainer to give you the help action. As Veda starts to like, you realize the benefit of a robot dog. Veda starts to hound on music notes like a bagpipe, giving you like a background tone to work
Hell
around. So you can go ahead and roll 2 dice and take the higher.
You sing the Yellow Brick Road, and we killed the Wicked Witch of the West.
Do you think Veda's house trained?
Actually, if you watch that episode while watching The Wizard of Oz, it syncs up just like Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Can you imagine trying to pull that off? That would be unhinged.
What'd you get?
One was a 12 and one was a 6. So that's interesting.
A 12
Plus
plus
whatever
numbers.
Yes, but originally. Plus.
Performance.
There's so many.
There's
When you
under
roll,
P.
there's so many
There's
things
26 skills, I know.
in the way. It's plus 10, first of all.
So 12 becomes a 22. Yeah.
Not bad.
It is so funny to think the worst that Beige can sing is as good as a normal person singing Happy Birthday. That is the
Yeah,
if
he's a
Beige
Disney
was
prince.
if Beige was drunk with a throat cold, like in bed with tonsillitis, it would sound like a normal person singing Happy Birthday who didn't do a bad job, who's just like Happy Birthday. Like,
Respectable.
that's the floor for Beige. Yeah, with the 22 Beige, you start to sing this like echoing ballad over the top of the space here. Some of the people who are going like stop to listen for a little while. Others are sort of ensorcelled by it as you make your way through the center of literally the middle of the thoroughfare out. By the end of it, you are met by a decent crowd of applause, especially as people begin to recognize you and kind of what this means. And I assume you hold the witch's head aloft.
I'm gonna hold it up like
Yeah.
this.
And this sort of loud
Swing it around.
cheering reaction comes back. Quickly, you start to hear the story become, like, with an over 20, you start to hear the story of you guys being, like, self-hired to do a bounty turns into the bottom line made it so that we can keep exploring by slaying the witch. Like, it goes way off into, like, a much more heroic version of events, which is kind of a slam dunk for you all. You do see, standing right in the middle of the thoroughfare by a large sign, you do see, seemingly, apparently still, Mayor-elect is L43, this drone of the Langston Interplanar Railway, who still has not set a single foot below, is standing there with a huge bag of treasure by its feet. And you see that quite proudly it is standing next to a bounty board, which has a large poster of the witch that he seems very proud of. You see this, like,
It's like Xeroxed on that.
I think they might have like a neutral metal face. I think it described them having some kind of like eyebrows that they could show. So somehow you detect pride from there. And it is it's like you took a photograph of the witch. It is perfect. I don't quite remember exactly what our bounty total was. I think it's in chat somewhere. But so
Probably about 1 billion.
about 2 billion gold pieces.
200,000.
5 billion or 2.
Bees collecting a big bag of money. I think I'm starting to have fun in the desert.
I actually think I'm starting to like the water wine.
As you hold up the head and approach, you hear from across the way L43 go, "Ah, you have returned."
Okay.
Hey, Al. What's up? There you go.
Holds out the hands, touches it, and you see it like looks into the eyes of the witch, and you just hear like some noises coming from inside the form, and it goes, "Confirmed," and hands you the head back. I don't want this.
Thanks. I was hoping I could keep it.
Reaches down, takes up this big bag of money, and hands you like 64 pounds of coins.
Oh, come on, L43. It's feeling a little light.
Here you
I
are.
don't know.
What?
Yeah.
1 second.
I found.
Opens the bag. 1, clink, 2, clink, 3,
Okay,
clink, 4.
all
I
right.
counted 5 times. Hilver, do you
It
have
should
it?
be. I did the Control F, and it said I think 6,000
Yeah, it sounds right.
gold.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. So we cut forward as Harold and Hilver's conversation is ending. 5,999.
Where are they?
6,000. I knew it was the right amount. And pushes it back into the bag and hands it to you, Beige, and goes, "There's a powerful
That's
magical
right.
item in that witch's head."
Thank you, L. Do you know what it is?
For a small retainer fee, I could tell you. And he holds out his hand.
All right, come on now.
I'm
Alright.
required.
Okay, like how much?
100 gold pieces.
Oh, L, my dude.
That's
Make
gonna
up-
be. It's okay. I know how to.
Yeah,
but-
he's just gonna cast the same spell that Lemon is.
For 100 gold.
for identifying. 100 gold. He goes, is there anything else I
Yeah,
can
I'll
help
tell
you with
you
today?
what, L43, I'll tell you what it is for 100 gold.
I don't particularly care what the item is. You have it. And he points to the head in your hands.
What the flip?
I did not want... First of all, this is not my bounty. I am just keeping an eye on it. And second of all,
Oh, he's mad.
it did not require you to bring the head. Well, no, I did.
It did.
Regardless, you did very well.
As proof.
I'll tell you what it does for
Right.
100 gold pieces. And I must say, if you have any more clerical tasks you need me to finish, I would tell me very soon. I'm about to go below.
Oh,
Are
what are you
you
gonna
now?
do there?
That is confidential business.
That's so
How much money
secretive.
would it take for it to not be confidential?
There is not an amount of money.
Okay.
Oh,
His eyebrows do a really dramatic, like, frowny eyebrows.
When people are giving you money for the bounty, did you hear anyone talk about like maybe another bounty wanting to be done? Like, was there another problem happening?
A number of minor, and he points, and you see that there's a bunch of bounties that have been posted that are really small scale, like, escort us through this next part. And like, they're like, people are like offering different amounts of gold. One of them is like, we need a cure for like XYZ. Somebody got poisoned by a trap and they're trying to find somebody that can fix it. You see one that is like underlined and the number keeps going up where they're like, we need a diamond worth 500 gold. We'll pay 100 additional gold. And it's been crossed out and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They like just keep bringing the price up because one of the people they came here with is dead and they're trying to revive them. It's a lot of just that filling the board. You don't see any other like big people trying to get specific monsters and things gone after because you know people haven't been able to go deep enough to encounter anything new.
Fair.
well, Mr. 43, if
Yes.
you know, since we've been down there and you haven't, you
Yes.
know, since we kind of know what to expect down there, just to, like give you some help, some advice. You know, if you told us like what, you know, where you maybe you were going, we could maybe
Bring you there.
Ooh, make a persuasion
help you
check.
get there.
You outbarred a robot. That's huge.
That's a good one.
go.
That's a good little like
17 plus 7, 24.
24.
Kind of. I think I'm actually starting to like being a bald.
With the 24, it's not over a 25, and he's a literal robot, so he's going to be a little vague, but you will get some information. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm going 300.2 meters below ground through 3.5 doors.
Here is my direct coordinates.
And one elevator.
They're in like robot, like they don't make any sense.
0100110.
X 12.2, Y 37, Z negative 50.
An item belonging to one of the members, which is supposedly down below, is technically the property of me and my company. I'm going to retrieve it. I've been told, and he like stills for a minute, that there is a dark central structure with tall vaulted ceilings. I am to go there upon discovering that it is accessible, go within, find this item, and retrieve it. Post haste. And then I will leave. And he reaches into his pocket, and this is the big thing you get with almost a 25. And he holds up a ticket. And you know that if you were to, like, activate this consumable magic item, you would vanish from wherever you are and appear on the train. And he puts it back in his, somewhere in his, like, amalgamated form.
I grab it and I run. Okay.
Sleight of hand check? Are we kidding? It feels like we're kidding.
I'm
It
kidding,
feels
I'm
like we're
kidding.
joking. I'm not sure.
I'm kidding.
Is
Harold
L-
and Hilbert, I think you guys are like coming up out of the bottom. Like,
Well,
Is L one of the fabled train bots?
Go ahead and make a history check. See if you know who L43 is.
The only other clerical thing, while you roll it, the only other
actually.
clerical thing would be to have him witness that we are the proper owners of the airship and
Oh,
like
that's
sign a
funny.
writ about it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah,
could
maybe
move.
I can ask him to write our name real big on it.
That too.
Wait,
with his
should
art
I
skills.
should I ask him to like draw a picture of like the witch's head and like me holding it and like all you guys behind me? You think he
On the
has that
sail.
artistic ability?
I think the sail would be the big thing there,
Yeah.
and then on the side it would say the bottom line across it. That's what I wanted to Xerox onto the ship for sure.
Hysterical.
13.
With a 13, with a 13, I will give you only one thing. The drones that everybody is the most afraid of all start with L. That L
Okay.
means they are drones that are sent to get something that the railway wants and bring it back, and there's really no rules about how they get it. So like in Bastion before, and Harold, you've probably responded to these on like a few questions, on a few occasions, I mean. Somebody will be working on something in a like highly secret arcane slash alchemical lab, and then all of a sudden like 1 to 6 L designation drones will appear, break in, kill everybody, take it, and leave. So him being here means he is not here to be friendly. If L is one of many, you assume, but that means he is somewhat a killer.
Yeah. Once I know
Sorry,
it
me
has,
too, L. Me too.
has to do with the trains, like, all right. I back off a good bit.
If I encounter you down below, I would be glad to entreat you for assistance. Just do not get in my way.
Wouldn't
Yeah, no.
dream of it. We go way back, me and you. Yeah. Let us know. Shout if you need help down there. Let us
If I give you 10 gold pieces, will you
Hmm?
paint our ship cool?
Harold!
Oh.
As you come around the corner. And he looks over. I do not believe that I have adequate resources to paint the entire ship. Not in the time that I have. But I could make a small painting or portrait of some kind. 1 gold piece.
Deal. I pull out a gold piece
What
from
would
the
you
new
like?
big 64-pound bag. You got. Do we want to do the bottom line on the side, or do we want to do a witch's head being held up?
He said he
What do
can't
we
paint
got?
the whole ship, but he could probably do both. Look at him. He's capable.
have-
Isn't that right,
yeah.
Mr. 43?
I
Yeah,
could
Lemon's
create a
already written the
respectably
bottom
sized
line.
canvas, certainly.
Yeah, we could always have Lemon writing the bottom line on it, maybe.
Oh,
If
it
he
didn't
wants
look
to-
good.
It'll be your second chance to improve.
All right,
Oh.
1 gold piece, main mast. I want the witch's head being held in a fist like this by the hair, something like that.
Understood. And L43
Nice.
like turns, gets into a sprinter stance, and
Oop.
like moves at an incredible speed, like through the camp over towards the airship. And as you all look over towards the airship, you look up just in time to see a giant like of flame on the deck of the ship. You all see this like, and then you see L43 like jump from the ground to one of the cannonels and like climbs in where the cannons are.
Nice. So now, and nobody's going to be confused about whose ship it is.
That's good.
Bunch of explosions going off. There they go.
I trust him.
Let's not get in his way, like he said.
Gotta let an
all
artist
right.
work.
Yeah, gold acquired. That's a win. Let's go to bed. We've been up for like 24 hours. No, that's not true. We went to sleep. We're feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's go investigate some more. Where did he say he was going next? He said don't get in his way, but I missed the first part
Oh.
of the conversation. I just got here.
Yeah.
He talks about a like mysterious black energy tower thing.
Tall vaulted structure of a darker composition than the ones around it, and it would match up to you
The
as
cathedral.
the large central building at the bottom of the atrium.
Yeah, he's grabbing something that apparently they think belongs to the train.
Hmm.
Usually,
Like,
what the
still-
train wants, the train gets.
That's the funny thing about the train. They think basically anything that's interesting belongs to them at any given moment. So probably totally unrelated to the train.
Are robots immune to the Piper song, or is it going to be?
Now
Probably.
this
They're semi-sentient.
now this would be a history check. Hilver, go ahead and make a history check
All right.
or Arcana.
I think Arcana. Wait, do I have history proficiency? I do, and Arcana. So, history for 17.
With the 17, near as the public is aware, because people do get on the train semi-regularly, there seems to be two kinds of drones on the train. The first kind are just constructs. They don't seem to have souls of any sort. They don't seem to be possessed of their own thoughts. The others do seem to have at least will and their own thoughts and seemingly their own goals. Like they seem to have like a personality. L43 almost certainly is in the second group. He almost certainly does have. Now, the
He got a
answer to
soul.
do they have souls? There's about 6,000 books that have been written on that, and no one knows because nobody can look at them. When the drones die, they vanish, and no one's ever managed to get a hold of one, so nobody knows.
We kill L43 and we jump immediately to Cradle. And then we see if we see his spirit flying around. And we're in.
That would
We don't
honestly
need to do
be the best way to do it,
That-
but no one ever knows when they're going to be or where they're going to be. So it's almost you are actually ironically in one of the only situations where you could do that if you wanted to
Yeah.
really redirect the mission.
side mission for another campaign is figuring out if the robots have souls.
You see,
But for right now, let's go talk.
as you have that thought, you watch as
Alright.
Predator style, just like the head and spine of somebody flies off of the ship.
Gross.
Are those like
Do you think
art
he'll
materials
clean?
for him? Oh yeah.
I think they're the people that were still manning the ship, and now technically they're not the rightful owners. so
I
he's just
think
clearing
you
them out
paid him a
for
gold
us.
to go do it, and people tried to stop him. And
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
no.
L43's
That's
got
happens.
rules; they're just not yours.
yeah. All right, let's go talk to the head of the mages.
Yeah, I'll yell up to him as well. Just like L43, be careful about touching stuff and listening to that Piper song down there when you head out.
His head goes up over the corner and he goes, I have absolutely no context for that, but thank you, and turns and he starts
Yeah.
to climb the central
He'll know.
mast with like a paintbrush in his mouth.
He'll know when he sees it or hears it, I suppose.
L43, do you want to tell those people up there that we're the owners of the ship because their leader's dead?
For 5 gold pieces, I will.
Nah, they can all get killed. It's not my problem.
Well, they have flown the ship. I mean,
Oh, I want to be super clear. People are getting off the ship.
Okay,
People
good.
are. It's not just corpses now. You see people are coming down. You see that like golden light staircase appears, and like as new steps are slowly appearing, people are like scrambling down as fast as they can to get out off of the other side. And if you were watching very closely, you would watch a small slinking group of survivors sneaking on. All right, so you guys go back down below. We can just sort of cut to you, unless there's anything else you want to do up top. We can sort of cut to you returning to the camp. The sort of like large dynamic party has turned into people chatting and like kind of conversing with each other. The comparing of notes seems to have mostly wrapped up at this point. I will say you do see that the doors into the surgery are now completely open. And a good number of the mages of Rimgastlon have started to go back and forth because they saw you let Corvain in. And so assumed that they would be allowed in as well. You can kick them out if you want to. You're just going to have to tell them. As you make your way down, you watch as Orax sort of perks up as they see you walking down. I believe they're a red dragonborn, if memory serves. And you see that this sort of large figure with them, who I think you would have heard their name by now, Sable, stands kind of alongside them. as you make your way down. And Oryx goes, "Ah, I had hoped to speak to you all soon.
Yeah, good timing.
Please come sit down." And Oryx sits in one of these seats around the fire. You see they've yet to kind of return to their own area. You see that there is a heavy guard has been posted on their own. Ironically, their own area they are still very densely guarding. So you assume they haven't found whatever it is they are trying to find in kind of their own area. Oryx goes, "I was wondering what the nature of our relationship down here is now. You all went to kill the hag, the witch, which I appreciate, and had offered to take one of us down below, which is still appreciated, but this was not the approach to that problem I thought you would take." And you look at the, like, destroyed campsite next to you. "Are we compatriots down here? Are we trading? Are we in a ceasefire between soon-to-be hostile nations? What's the nature of our situation?"
I don't see any reason why we can't just be full-on allies.
Good.
We're sort of after different stuff for the most
Yeah.
part.
This mostly happened because he kind of ordered our friend to jump off the cliff. So as long as you're
Yeah.
treating everyone nice, that's a good
Not the
good
plan.
footing to be.
He ordered Morris to jump?
Yeah, it was
And Morris
crazy.
did it?
He was
That's why-
dominated.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well then, I would be glad to be your ally, especially seeing what you will go through for your allies, apparently. The Viscount was no slouch. So that is much appreciated.
Oh yeah, that was like installed posture that he had.
Oh, I know. The Viscount Malaran is quite the fearsome figure in his own community.
Now, in the interest of allyship, I
Yes.
think, in the interest of alliance, I think it'd be best if we talk, I guess, a little plainly about what we're after.
Yes.
Beej and I are after 200,000 gold pieces. So we're looking to get that wrapped
Really?
up. Yeah, 200,000.
All right. Just not the answer I
Uh,
anticipated.
Yeah. I mean, no, there's always other stuff like, oh, a magic item that can do anything, whatever. But mostly we're after 200,000 GP. The other people in the party here, though, have a little bit more they're after if they are open to sharing what they want exactly.
Yeah.
That's up to them. But
Yeah, I guess figuring out the belief systems of these people would be very handy, but also maybe finding a way of like taking those venerable souls and just kicking them into the natural cycle of things again would be good. Because that
So you're-
horrendousness.
You're here to kill the Vemeral.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good thing because it seems like they're here to bring them back. So stopping that will be better for everyone.
Certainly, certainly. It's a noble vision. I wish you well. I believed... I was under the impression they were already dead. Have you run into one of them alive down here?
Their souls are still here, and that's what we need to kind of
Yeah.
kick back into the natural order, I guess.
All right.
Their
We can
souls
fade
have
out. We
been
can do a
linked-
micro helicopter blade fade out
Yeah.
back in as you briefly explain that, and they go, "Interesting. So good to know." You?
Lemon?
He looks at Lemon.
I'll know when I see it.
Fair enough.
ephemeral.
I am here for a secret. The Deathwoken invented necromancy. They discovered it? I don't really know how to word it. They were the first to revive someone from the dead, and quickly found the bounds of that. And we believe many secrets they never revealed to anyone. I am looking for a particular secret. My cohort are looking for all the rest. I may be willing to tell you more if we can find some more formal compact. It's nothing too drastic. They look over at the construct who goes, "I am here to protect Oryx."
All
Fair.
right.
All right.
Seems like
Sable,
he's a
fair
good
enough.
ally to you too.
Yes,
Yeah.
you can have your own gold here if you want. And Sable goes, "Place stinks. It's dark. Want to leave."
That's a good goal. You know, the faster everybody else gets their things done, faster you get out of here.
Protect
solid.
Orax. Make it down. Make it out. Go back where it doesn't stink. And Orax
Yeah.
goes, "You can smell?" And Tim goes,
It does stink.
Yeah.
"Yes, I can smell. I'm not a robot."
Yeah. So now, in terms of territory, we kind of we've laid claim on the little mosaic temple area. It would be nice if people didn't go into that room.
All
Otherwise, free passage. I don't care about anybody going anywhere else.
Can I ask, were there any books or tomes inside? Anything relating to the casting of spells? Before I agree
the
to
answer's
that.
no, right?
Yeah, it's just
This is
stained
like-
glass windows that
No.
are glowing from within. That's all it is.
Oh yeah.
Stained glass. Happy to show you the stained glass. We just don't want people poking around all the time. There's no
That's-
books though.
Yeah.
As
If you have any information about the gods depicted or something, that might be handy in there. And
What-
like,
what did they look like?
uh,
And I'll just roll a history check and see if they know who any of them are. So for those of you who
Yeah.
don't recall, I think I can give you like the rough breakdown of everybody here. Yeah, so you see there was a figure in chains, sort of like attached to the ground, kind of wailing and gnashing teeth to the sky. There was a woman on a stag in a forest. There was a like roaring, raging humanoid figure. There was a dragon, like a great blue dragon. There was the form of a large giant with like a hammer in its hand, and then there was just a like swirl of color. And you didn't really know too much, so I'm just gonna make a quick check. All right, she knows nothing about the first. She knows something about the second. She knows a little bit about the third. They know everything about the fourth, which makes perfect sense, which is hysterical.
Nice.
They know nothing about Farlkant, funnily enough. And they know something about the next. Okay, cool. So, oh no, Spencer, you just went on a whole little trip. I accidentally grabbed you.
Oh no! Oh!
Your little thing just went like,
oh,
I know not the first. The second. The woman on the stag. One of the old elven gods. Toy of Astric. She was the spirit of the hunt and the deep green. The deep green, just forest that no one had ever touched. That no living, normal, mortal soul had gone to. The blue dragon I know very well. It is interesting to know what happened. Pelaranicus the Azure Storm was a great blue dragon that ascended to truly terrible power and became a spirit. Or was always a spirit, or was born to a spirit and a dragon. The legend is vague. Pelaranicus was opposed to the primacy. They lived in the desert. And you know that the lower gods have bodies in the world. They are alive and come into conflict at times. Pelaranicus disappeared during the War of Principles, never appeared again. We assumed them dead. So perhaps this is a memorial to gods that have died. And then the last...
enemies of the Deathwoken, then?
I suppose, yes. Well, certainly Pelaranicus was. And then the last was Halcyon, the spirit of peace. Halcyon was killed, quite famously, in a large battle, was struck through by some lance of terrible necromancy. Also an enemy of the Deathwoken, so that would be sensible. The Deathwoken
Sounds like
liked
it's pretty
to start
likely.
conflict, and Halcyon was opposed.
Yeah. Sounds like this is sort of showing all the great spirits they destroyed. This is a temple to their destruction. All right. Sounds likely. Or entrapment for the one in chains. That's something that, in the world probably.
Yes, I suppose. I've heard of other spirits trapping each other. I've never heard of a wizard doing it.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, I think that covers sort of the bounds that we were looking for. Allies, we know kind of what we're after. A free and open travel. We're after some money. We're after some really pretty hyper specific information. I don't care about, revivification and necromancy spells. So anything we find on that, I'm happy to turn over.
Fantastic. That is the best of all possible news. You are welcome to travel through our area as long as you maintain peace, and if you find any tomes directly related to necromancy, we just ask that we have access to. Corvain tells me you've already begun that good work, so much appreciated. And if you need to look at anything in the archive, and they point to the area that they kind of have control over, you can go there as well. That's no problem for us. As you continue, I just ask that you keep us in mind. Now I am unsure. Are we allowing others to pass?
I guess if they seem strong enough to head below, maybe.
Yeah, it's more a question of like they're gonna get themselves killed and probably trigger some stuff that's gonna be negative for us if they are not of the right stock. But otherwise, I'm not gonna stop people from going down. We're gonna be making pretty quick progress. So,
Very well.
Maybe show them the gore and decay in this place and see if they have second thoughts or not.
yeah, if they can't handle that big giant in there, don't keep going because this is the first couple floors. You can't handle that; it's gonna get worse.
I did have another question. Do you know what the Viscount was looking for?
I looked at everybody else. Do we know what he was looking for?
I don't think you
Maybe
guys
someone
do.
who can speak with dead?
I don't have to speak with dead.
I was just curious.
Yeah,
He
no,
held this
no idea.
place with quite a stark...
Does his
don't
body
know.
have a journal on it?
No, that would be
Oh,
crazy
no.
to write your whole evil plan out in like a big journal and leave it on
Sometimes,
your body in case
though-
you die without anybody talking to you.
You'd be shocked at how many
He's
bad
a-
guys write out their evil plans in journals.
Really? It just seems
Yeah.
wild. You think you just remember your evil plan.
No, see, when they're evil, they're like so full of themselves they want it written down.
Oh, so that
So-
people will read it. It's like
Yeah,
keeping a journal
exactly.
and then putting page numbers in it.
Yeah,
It's like, all
we're-
right, brother,
why?
what are we doing? Okay.
We're not reading that. Yeah, exactly.
No, I cannot speak with dead, and to be perfectly frank, I don't think the Viscount would be much of a conversationalist. I believe he would
That'd
tell
be
you.
pretty
I
rude.
believe he would respond in ways that would be both colorful and deeply hurtful. So I don't imagine
True.
you would get quite the response you were looking for. Did you have any other questions for
Alright.
me? Well then, I will return to my research. And Orax stands, and Sable, this sort of large, like animated suit of armor almost, stands next to them as well.
And now we should go to bed.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
You guys all head off to your safe areas here, heading to bed, and we see a couple of little things kind of playing out in the background. We see Corvain poring over notes. You see that he has started with the first journal, and we see him sort of setting it out and beginning to translate, and you see that some of the other mages are like using simple creation spells, basic transmutation, to like make sheets of paper and are handing them to Corvain as he is filling very quickly. Corvain is writing in like shorthand, very quickly translating, and we can see, and the subtitles at the bottom display, the title that is down the side of all of these books: An Account of the Discovery and Development of the Song of the Piper, authored by Adelind of the Votai, Physician to the Vemeral. And he continues to take notes, methodically transcribing the entire document, getting more and more kind of transfixed as he continues. In another corner, we see our group of inexplicable survivors, Kernau, Micah, Sarat, and Vinyl was our fourth, right? Or was it the other guy? Did we keep the squire? I can't remember.
No, the squire
Yeah.
went away.
So we see them, you guys are creeping up, like around squeaking floorboards. You keep above you, you're hearing like as you see, and then you all are like tucked into a corner as thunk, 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 walking down the stairs. We see L43, whose like right arm up to the elbow is covered in blood, who looks over at you all. Terribly sorry about the mess. And chunk, 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 continues down because you didn't get in his way.
Holy crap!
You guys continue to make your way up to the top, and we will meet up with them later. Far below, deep down, we see Sarat Surat has pushed down further than the others now. And you will remember we described, but nobody ever gone inside, the tower. This long, built into the wall structure, the entrance to which was far below the forge and these other places. And we see in a room is Surat, slowly combing through scrolls and loose pages, pulling like clay tablets out of these like cubby holes and trying to translate. And all the while, this echoing voice in the back of their head scratching away as they're continuously hearing this voice, but it is well bottled. And then far down below, a figure who we have not seen for some time. Let me get my last of my little notes out here. My little notes. We see the old man from the beginning of our adventure. We see Calhoun Miller. Calhoun is all the way at the bottom. We only see him because as he steps out from darkness, he comes into vision, having been invisible until just a moment ago. Looks up. Slinks down below. And our camera kind of cuts through walls, and we see him maneuvering his way around in the dark until finally he comes upon, sitting on top of a stone altar with a beautiful like fabric cloth beneath it, we see a sword, glinting bronze. Behind him, we see a number of creatures, one of which is like one of these things that we've seen below is like slack-jawed, staring into the distance, clearly enchanted in some way. And we can see one of the many trinkets and bobs that Calhoun has. He was like giving them away to people who did him favors, is glowing the same color as their eyes as he walks up. And we see him like licks a ring on his hand, and as he licks it, the top of it like starts to glow, and he holds it out over and casts Identify. And he goes, "Ooh, odds aren't that bad." And he takes his glove off. "One last adventure." And he reaches out to touch the handle. And that is where we're going to cut the episode and pick up next week.
Chat, odds are terribly bad, actually.
Odds
I don't know why
very,
the fuck
very-
you would ever think that.
so bad.
There's something
That's
telling about the
crazy.
phrase "one last adventure."
Yeah.
There's something telling in there. Oh my goodness. What's up, Lemon?
I was just say as you're doing the sign off, I do have to jump off.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, that's okay. The cameras are about to get wonky. Everybody be cool about it. Thank you all so much for watching. We are just past the halfway point now, and we are shuffling off into further things. Oh my God, it's so bad right away. Wait, if I'm right here. Hi, everybody. Spencer and me are the only two you can see. What's up? Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Party Makes Things Worse Song of the Reliquary. We are past the halfway point, heading into the back end here. We've encountered some of the Vemeral, and the gears of this place are turning, whether or not we are there to see them turn. We will pick up next week with hopefully some new and exciting things. Maybe our groups brought into conflict. We truly don't know. I'm really excited to see where it goes from here. We've had a couple of magic items hand out. We're going to deal with that off table, so I'll probably kind of recap those at the beginning of next episode in case anybody's curious. You can catch 3 streams here at Foolhardy Press. They all start at 7:30 p.m. On Sundays, you can catch Game Masters, Masters of Games, where Spencer, Michael, and I demystify the DMing process by coming up with monsters, magic items, and all kinds of things live. It looks like I'm drowning and trying to keep my chin just above the water. On Mondays, of course, you can catch The Party Makes Things Worse. This is our actual play stream. I'm currently running Dungeons & Dragons, and we are playing a fun campaign called Song of the Reliquary. The last one before this was Spencer's, and that was The Prince of Charming. In a very exciting turn of events, if you go over to Spotify, you can find Spencer's fully edited first episode of the podcast of Prince of Charming. I urge you strongly to watch, to listen to that. Spencer's been putting an incredible amount of work in. Our audio was a little choppy on those first few episodes, but it straightens up pretty quick. So just bear with it for a little bit and it'll sharpen up. We have a lot of fun effects in there. I'm really excited to see how the rest of that goes. On itch.io, you can find our one-page RPGs, including our newest one, Resonance. And on DriveThruRPG, you can find our D&D products, including our newest one, which we just came out with, The Void's Eye Observatory, a quick one-shot adventure. That's been a lot of fun, and hopefully we have some more coming in the not-too-distant future. Void's Eye took us the business end of a year, so we're going to try to tighten up the next one, but it might be a minute. Also, check us out on YouTube. You can catch the VODs for the streams and all kinds of interesting videos that Spencer records and works on, which are absolutely fantastic. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching. Did I miss anything?
That's it.
All right. Catch y'all later. Peace out.